Should be live. I stand with Crowder, so I'm representing today. All right. Well, I need to get through this because I had a false start. Now, if there's some background noise, I apologize about that. But I want to get things out of the way. I always start off with my website, www.theundersegovia.com, and I am yours truly, the Under Segovia. I'll get up for the gym, so that's what I'm looking forward to after this. I wanted to wrap up some of the big events of the week of Techtober. That has been obviously starting with Apple, followed by Team Pixel, and today with the Samsung Unboxed event. But before I get into any of that, the reason I show my website, there's episodes that you are not aware of. I recommend that you tune in case you missed it. I did a reaction to the Batman trailer that's not on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff that I don't put on YouTube for various reasons, but I'm going to announce right now that I'm intending to take some time off in November because, if you're not aware of, I'm actually an author too. So I have some published works, several right here, including the one about my original show. And this series, this romantic novel series or romantic comedy series that I've been working on for several years. So I have two in the that are already available for publishing. But the third one is the one, it says it's coming spring 2021 still on the website. I am way behind on this thing. I'm at the last two chapters. A lot of the editing's been done, and this is the placeholder for the cover. So I need to finish that book, and I promise that I will deliver that by Christmas. At least I promised it to myself. So I'm tired of blowing past deadlines, but there's been a lot of stuff happening. I have a couple of episodes that are in post-production right now that I think one of them should be debuting Monday. But in between, there's a lot of other content that's going out the door. The best place to experience it is here on my website because where everything is funneled through. But for those of you that are not just watching on YouTube because I'm on other decentralized platforms, yeah, I got a lot of content. So I'm probably going to be dipping into the archives for the rest of you that are not on YouTube to still have some content along the way. But new content will probably be held off for a bit, with the exception of the podcast. So make sure you subscribe to my podcast on your favorite podcast catcher. That way you don't miss out any updates. And of course, follow me on the socials. I'm across many different things on the socials. I'll be active on Instagram, Parler, Gab, and to some extent on Getter. So that's the best way for you to keep up with what's going on. Behind the scenes stuff happens on Instagram. So yeah. Well, anyway, that's all out of the way. Let me start off with the lesser of the three events, and that has to do with the Samsung Unpacked event that happened today as I go live here. And of course, I got some noise in the background. Fantastic. Every time. First, there was technical difficulties and then other things and like whatever. I'm just going to breeze right through this, and come what may, I'll put up with it. So as I understand this whole bespoke studio thing that Samsung announced, basically you can deck out the Flip to whatever style you want, and you could do it multiple times. I'm not entirely sure how that's all supposed to work, but I think this is for new devices, not existing devices. Let me see. Let's see the bespoke edition, your Galaxy your way from $500. Experience AR. A good thing just got better. A new look. Everyone will flip for. Ha ha ha. Let's see. Cream, Phantom, lavender. I think they have like over 40 ways you can customize. If I'm not mistaken, this goes the same for what is it? The watch, the Galaxy Watch 4. And I thought it was the Z Flip as well. Let me go to sammobile.com. I didn't have them pulled up, but maybe it is just the Z Flip. Yeah, so it's the Z Flip and the Watch for a Bespoke Studio. It's live, but it doesn't bring anything yet. Maybe the Z Flip is coming later. So that's it. You can customize it, and you could customize it repeatedly. That's odd. The approach is interesting because I think many people, including yours truly, might feel the same way. Is that this turns off the want to be the first ones to get the device, not because of like, oh, I gotta have the device first. I don't care about that part. I mean, like, if you're gonna be bringing out customizations or different colors later down the road, might as well wait. That's what I waited to jump on the Note 10 lineup because I wanted the red one. It looked fantastic in the promos, and we weren't entirely sure we're going to get it, but that's why I waited, and I'm glad I did. So I didn't rush out for it. And this, for future devices, I don't know. That doesn't make me or leave me excited for the Unpacked events, to be honest with you. So I don't like this approach. Get it all out the door at once, Samsung, or just don't do it at all. I'm not happy about this at all, because it does leave those that were the early adopters kind of out in the cold. Say, oh, come and buy it again, huh? No, I think that's pathetic. So screw that. I'm not a fan of that. Okay, so this next one over. I was going to leave this video from the Verge playing the MacBook Pro event. I guess I'll talk a little bit about before I start showing you the pictures. From what I know and understand, and I don't know why it looks so grainy when it's supposed to be HD, and I'm supposed to have it like way faster. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. So this whole voice plan thing that I started hearing about, I look, I'm not a, I may have Apple products. I'm not an Apple fanboy, so I don't really know all this stuff that's about where I guess you're getting Apple services with the music plan. That's kind of what the Pixel Pass that I'm about to get to is going to be for the Pixel stuff. So I guess the music, how do I explain it? The lossless audio is the most attractive part for this Apple Music part. I'm interested to see how that works, because obviously you're gonna have to stream the music via Wi-Fi direct, because you cannot stream lossless over Bluetooth. It's just not there yet. We're probably very far away to get to that point, but this kind of reminds me of the Google Play Music Pass from the past, which is now all bundled into YouTube Premium. So I think that's the approach, but they call it voice. So I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. But we did get the HomePod Minis announced, the new AirPod 3s that are redesigned supposedly in some way. I was never a fan of these, so I don't really care. Let me see, what else did they do just to cover it all up? Spatial audio and all these different things. The big one, I guess, happens to be the MacBook Pros, and I guess that's what I'm going to jump over right now, to the MacBook Pros, because this new chip is supposed to be incredibly powerful. The M1 Pro, the M1 Max chip. Dave 2D had a really good summary of this, so you can head on over to his channel, to, if you haven't done so already, to check out what he presented, because he actually reviewed the best, most powerful Windows laptops and gaming laptops of the year so far, and this supposedly blows some of them out of the water by using less wattage or somewhere in between and things like that. So maybe we'll see. Obviously, these are all claims, but until they're into their actual hands of people outside of the controlled environments of the laboratories, we'll see for ourselves. But what people are celebrating are the return of the ports, such as the like the SD card slots, the HDMI ports. Of course, you got Thunderbolt ports and all that. But what's really, really hidden in this is this ugly notch right here. Like, oh, I didn't know that, because I didn't see the presentation. And in a lot of the marketing here, Apple tries to do, oh, you can see it right there. They try to do a really good job at hiding it. Like, ugh, that's awful. It's like, why can't you just do everything right at once? So yeah, that sucks. But this is gonna be interesting to see it all play out. This Apple Silicon. That kind of seems to be the thing between Apple and Google this year. It's their own silicon. Samsung has their own with Exynos, but it's still not. At least here, it's not on par with Qualcomm yet. But I'm rooting for them. That way they don't have to rely so much on others, and they could control more of the economies of scale and bring us a better experience, for which is why this whole Apple thing is a big deal for people that are into this ecosystem and really count on it, because having M1 Pro, M1 Max, and not have to worry about the Intel chips and all that is better for the battery, better for ventilation, better for longevity of a device, not to mention the software support. If something is really broken in okay, I just heard some sound in the background. Hold on, let me just make sure of something. So I'm telling you, this is one of those days, and we're live, so if something goes wrong, that's on me. Okay, so let me. Okay, still good. That's why I tend to have my stream on my device, just because I need to know if something happens. But anyway, that's why I need to wrap this up real quick. Well, with that being said, I love the idea of a company having more control over its economies of scale and the operating system and all. I know that's where Samsung's been trying to go and doing its own thing. So now Apple's taking the next step with its own silicon, as it did with they introduced the MacBook lineup earlier. Now we got the MacBook Pros, and they look to be super powerful. But again, I'm not an Apple fanboy. But for those that are into this stuff, that would be pretty big. So it's along those lines that I'll just wrap it up here. You guys can go check it out for yourselves. The benchmarks look pretty insane. They even say here, scary fast, and then scary faster. I like, again, we'll know when we see it, when they're in the hands of people that can actually put these things through the ringer. But if the M1 presentation with the MacBook was any indication, yeah, then there's a lot of credibility to what Apple's going to show. Okay, next over. I was going to have this thing play in the background, but never mind. I'll just skip over to this. The Pixel 6s, they're finally here. Okay, and I got to say, I'm not a fan of big devices, but the Pixel 6 Pro, because of that cloudy white, as they're calling it, color, that's the one I like. But what's really fascinating here, though, was they were alluding, at least Google was alluding to, this was going to be super expensive phones with prices up in the stratosphere. They're surprisingly affordable, comparatively speaking. I mean, starting at $599 for the Pixel 6 and $899 for the Pixel 6 Pro. Wow, that's actually pretty impressive. What makes this interesting, though, because I'm curious to see how the benchmarks are going to hold up. And with a lot of the big tech influencers receiving this device, but are being told they can't show anything yet and they can't talk about it yet beyond just the design, that like a lot of us know, is like that usually is a sign that something is not quite ready yet. And the manufacturer's trying to fix it. So whatever that is, we'll ultimately find out once the reviews embargo is lifted, and we'll see for ourselves what happens. So this is the sort of seafoam. This is sort of coral. Wait, I had to click here. Sort of coral. Hey, hold on. Where is it? There it is. This is Stormy Black, sort of coral. Of the Pixel 6 lineup, this is my favorite color contrast. That's not really saying much because I don't think it looks all that great. But as I understand, the side of the railings here, this is supposed to be an aluminum frame. The alloy is kind of tactile, whereas supposedly the Pixel 6 Pro is stainless steel. So I'm really curious to see how that feels compared to, say, the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 13s. Okay, and like I said, this is the color that I like. This might be their flagship color because they're showing it off right here. I really do like that color. I don't like big phones, but this one is supposedly smaller than the Note 20 Ultra. The Note 20 Ultra is enormous for me. That's why I love the 10. But the Note 20 is supposed to be smaller. I mean, this is supposed to be smaller than the Note 20 Ultra. So I like to get the feel in the hand with this one. These are the colors. This is sort of sunny. And Stormy Black. So Stormy Black is the one that carries over between the two devices. But where things get interesting is with respects to the technical specifications, because we're dealing with Google Silicon here. Where do they really? Here we go. The processors of Google Tensor Titan M2 security co-processor. They're labeling, and they're hyping up all this privacy and protection and security for your device, coming from the company that's been notoriously known for really screwing with your privacy and security, second only to Facebook. But it's still something that they're trying to claim that they're giving you more power, but they're embedding the AI and a lot of the processing into the chips themselves. I know they offloaded some of the processing so they don't have to rely on the servers into, say, the cameras and all that. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm just going by some of the bullet points that they kept saying on the presentation. But I do like the Titan security. I don't want to mention just to what extent I use it, but I have used it, and of course I have some of the Pixel phone lineup, so I am aware of their security. So I do use that. But this is end-to-end security designed by Google, and it's proprietary to them. And I have to supposedly trust them with what they're doing, and that's where things get interesting. So this is supposed to include also anti-phishing and anti-malware protection. I really hope that they do, but this is probably the most interesting part that was both cool and not so cool, because they say, oh, for the first time we can extend our update window. We'll be supporting the device for 5 years of security updates. Notice that this is security updates, not OS updates. OS updates remain to 3 years as they have been. So that really isn't that much of a change. A company that has done kind of beyond the 2 or 3 year security software updates that I've seen has been Samsung. You know, every now and then it's like, what? You're still pushing out an update for this old phone? Like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, it's like once a year maybe, but better than nothing. So we'll see about all this. But I must say, with this whole camera array setup, because the big deal is the flagship camera setup. on the Pro, because this is the first time they get all new camera setups. And we're talking about, they threw everything in the kitchen window at this thing. I mean, the kitchen sink at this thing. We're talking a 50 megapixel octa-core quad Bayer wide camera, a 48 megapixel telephoto camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, and what's the other one? It has I know it has laser tech autofocus, but there was another one here. I think this is the Pro, right? Yeah. Am I not seeing it? It's supposed to be a quad core setup, unless they kind of making it alluding to it with the 50 megapixel one. But yeah, there's the three here with the telephoto lens. You get the super res zoom with telephoto up to 20 times. It has 4 times optical zoom. Some of the pictures look impressive, so we'll see. I don't know how much of that is AI, but good to know that it has optical image stabilization on wide and telephoto. Not to mention the fast camera launcher, which is important for anyone else to take quick pictures. The front-facing camera, for those that think it was in the Pixel 3 that enjoyed the wide field of view on the front-facing camera, that's supposed to be back on this one. They say a 94-degree field of view, ultra-wide camera, fixed focus, 11.1 megapixel. So we'll see what it's like. The rear cameras, and I think the front-facing camera too is supposed to, yeah, both the rear and the front-facing camera are able to record 4K video. The rear at 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and the front at 30 frames per second. You can do 1080p in the front-facing camera from 30 frames per second to 60 frames per second. So yeah, they really try to set the bar for cameras. So that's going to be interesting what the review say about this device. I think one of the most interesting things though about this has been the magic eraser. I like that concept. I mean, it doesn't just apply to photos taken by the Pixel phones. It also applies to pictures that you've taken before this Pixel phone. So I think that's pretty impressive. I would like to run the test, but I'm just curious, is that something that's software based that they'll be able to bring to other Pixels, or would that just be for the Pixel 6 and on? Because it all sounds software based. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. And so I gotta chime in on this because look, I'm not a fan of virtual signaling, and I gotta call out Pixel for their I guess lenses, camera lenses are racist, so they're hyping the real tone, and this has been called the most inclusive camera ever. I'm sorry, as an Hispano, that sounds ridiculous to me, especially when depending on what part of the world you're in, you'll see a lot of these cameras tailored differently. You can just look at how Samsung does their colors and what the tone softening and everything that's done with the front-facing camera from there that doesn't actually translate to those of us here and things like that. That's been in the press before. So, you know, I just think that's they spent a lot of time on that. So I had to address it. So if you care about that, there it is. Good, I guess. But as for me, it's like, yeah, you're not winning me over by saying this is the most inclusive camera ever, because I didn't feel that my other cameras, including Pixel phones or my Samsung devices or my Apple phones, were being racist against me when I took pictures. So yeah, to each their own, I suppose. But I'm just calling it as it is. The one thing that holds me back about all this is eSIM on this device. That has a lot to do with the actual security and tracking. If it's eSIM, because this is dual SIM, so that means the second SIM would actually be the only SIM you put in here, which is the nano SIM. That means this thing already has an eSIM in there, and I don't exactly like that, because then that means you can't use it as a burner phone. But that's just me and whatever, privacy, security concerns, and off the grid things that I might consider doing that. That's why, well, I got this guy here in my pocket. This is the Pixel 4 running Calyx OS. So I got some things out here, but yeah, I'm running Calyx OS on this guy. I'm trying to get the feel for it, because I've just used Lineage more than I've done Calyx, and it feels like when a normal Android, it's like any other product, but there's just additional things to it, especially when trying to circumvent a lot of the leeching of data that a lot of these apps and Google services does. So yeah, but anyway, above all else, I really like that cloudy white color. And I spent more time on the Pixel stuff because this is the one that I was most interested in. Because I feel like I've always been Team Pixel. I have my Pixel 2 right here as well. This was the last one that was built by HTC. It's probably my favorite one too. The unfortunate part was that I had to get this as an emergency because I had a device shatter. I think I covered it on my channel when I broke a device, and this one was the only device I was willing to get at the time, and I had to get it directly from Verizon. So surprise, I cannot unlock the bootloader because the OEM unlock is grayed out by Verizon, and I have not been able to get them to unlock it. So to every solution has been, oh yeah, the only way you can unlock it is take the phone, sell it on eBay, and get one that's not sold by Verizon. It's like, well, there it is, I guess. And the trade-in value sucks, so I can't really get much out of it either. But not that I want to. The phone's pretty good. I use it as a glorified remote control for my Google products. So yeah, well, there it is. Anyway, that's it. That's really the overview of all this. I'm excited to see what Android 12 is going to bring to the other devices. I like the idea of this whole Material U thing. So we'll see how it's implemented. And I have a nagging suspicion that might be why there'll be some negative reviews or not so hyped reviews about it, because there might be some issues with the implementation thereof, because that's a lot of code you got to put into a software, and they're really hyping it up, but we'll see how this all turns out. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done a live. I wanted to do this one. I know, just with warts and all, there it is. Thank you so much for those of you that have tuned in, that watched. One last sip from my Lotto or Crowder mug. YouTube, free Crowder, or stick to your guns and don't come. Just call yourself for what you are. You are officially an editor. You're not a town square, so stop pretending you are one. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my stuff at www.thingyoushouldgo.com. Check out the podcast. That's probably where you'll be able to see more of my stuff. But again, everything is funneled over to here at my website. And also, when you click on an episode, if you're not all into just audio, the video versions are placed into the or embedded into these things. So, like for example, the main Batman teaser trailer, the trailer I was talking about, yeah, I embedded the video there, so you can also see it. So, like I said, one place to experience everything that I do. Again, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one.